Good morning, Jubel. Good morning. We at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living acknowledge we gather on the ancestral lands of the Cahuilla, Gabrielino Tongva, Kizh, and Luiseno peoples. We commit to live in right relations, to love our neighbors, to seek justice and loving kindness, and to walk humbly on this land. We recognize our oneness, so that we decolonize our minds and set each other free from the pain of racism and violence, to live better as God intended, in harmony with nature and with one another. Good morning again. My name is Dinah Williams, and I am one of your licensed spiritual practitioners here and I'm also core council president here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. It is my distinct honor and privilege to serve as your guest host today while Reverend Jeffrey is on a much-deserved vacation. So I'd like to say hello to everybody joining us on Facebook. Let me see if I can do this. Hey, Seth. Oh, Karen, you're here. Morning, Martin. I'm assuming Vicky, too. Hi, Casey. Aloha. And Coco. Yay. Oh, and she says, it's wonderful to hear Jeffrey Ricca with Jubel. And go Dinah Williams. So please take this moment to like us on Facebook, join our live stream, or if you have your cell phones with you, please make sure they are on silent. I forgot to mention that last time. Thankfully, mine was silent. So now it's time to get everyone up and moving with some music. Here we go.
You know you don't have to hesitate. Just come on in. Come on in and sit down. I saw you peeking through the window. I bet you're wondering just what's going on. So quit your sneaking around. This is where you belong. So open up the doors now. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You know you don't have to hesitate. Just come on in. Come on in and sit down. Take your job. Now did you notice all the love around you? And did you hear all the voices raised in song? I hope you catch yourself dancing and singing along. So let your body move now. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You know you don't have to hesitate. Just come on in. Come on in and sit down. To the beat now. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Welcome, 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 come on in. Come on in. Welcome, 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 come on in. Come on in. Welcome, 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 come on in. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary, yeah. Welcome to the temple, yeah, yeah. Welcome to the temple, yeah, yeah. Come on in and sit down. Sit yourself down. Woo! Good job, guys. Sweet words of wisdom fill my ear. Your words like water keep my soul sustained. Let them rain, let them rain. I hold your presence here inside of me. I rest in knowing you are here. Brighter than 1,000 stars across the sky. How you shine, how you shine.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Ralston, one of your licensed spiritual practitioners here at the Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Practitioner Dinah Williams and I, mostly myself, will be available after the service for a brief moment of prayer in the prayer room located in the lobby. Please don't leave here this morning with anything on your heart. We would love to pray with you and absolutely know that prayer works. Please join me in consciousness. Go within to your inner kingdom, that place where the awareness of the One resides. Recognizing that there is only God, the power back of all that is. The first cause where the uncreated from which all is created. God is eternal life, the creative source of all life, the unlimited supply of love, peace, wisdom, harmony, abundance, joy, order, unity, and wholeness, and so much more. Through the unfoldment of each God quality, we hear that still small voice, and we recognize it as spiritual guidance, bringing forth only good to our experience. As the wind blows the clouds through the sky, the tides rise and fall, being influenced by the moon. The stars shine, reflecting the sun. The energy of life is everlasting. It is God who brings it forth. It is God who creates every molecule, every grain of sand, every living being on the land, in the water, and all who flies through the sky. It is all God, as God expresses through each of us, as each of us, God experiences life. We are united as one, experiencing the grace, a grace-filled life. I speak a word of love, blessing all those who are here today, all who are listening via the media, and all who are unable to be here. A blessing for each and all. So please join me in saying, and so it is.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me, where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lifts my feet. Where I live, it is.
Thank you, Jubel. Thank you, Tomorrow. Both were beautiful. I want to say good morning to a few more people, Lupe Marie, and I'm assuming John also. Rosemary, good morning from Albuquerque, and Denise, Melissa, and Corey, and Aquarius Edwards. So good morning. It is now time to say our focus statement. So if you will all join me, and let's make Reverend Jeffrey proud because he will be watching this. Are you ready? Okay. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Okay, well, now I am happy to introduce our lovely Reverend Victoria Bomberry, PhD. She is our Minister of Transformational Programming at Riverside CSL, and she also has Winged Spirit. It's the name of her focus in ministry. It has just been approved by CSL worldwide and has passed the first phase of the affiliation process, which is awesome. Well done. She completed her ministerial studies at Holmes Institute, and she received her PhD in Modern Thought and Literature from Stanford University, which I did not know. I've learned something new every day. That's awesome. Exploring and developing ways that Riverside Center for Spiritual Living can serve the world, teaching, working with individuals and small groups are her passions. She has more than 35 years of teaching experience, including the California State Universities, University of California Systems, and private universities, in addition to teaching at our local Centers for Spiritual Living. Please welcome, missed the last and frankly the most important part. Her ministry focuses on peace and the joy that accompanies it through inspired service. Please welcome Reverend Victoria back up.
Oh, now I can see you all. Unencumbered, right? Oh, it's so wonderful to see everyone here this morning. I feel like every time I come here, there's such power and energy in our center. And I have been away for the past 3 weeks in our sister center in Beaumont, helping them out with speaking and serving as their minister during this transition time that they're in. And I'm always amazed when I get to visit other centers as well, because I see how our teachings bring us all together and that we are truly unified in God. And I want to acknowledge everyone who's joining online. You know, we're doing these hybrid things this year. We've been doing it for more than a year now. And I think it's really a wonderful, it's been a wonderful way that we've learned that we connect across distances, that there really is no distance when we have love, right? We are loving people, and love is the power that connects us across any distance, across any kind of seeming difference, anything. We are connected, and technology is showing us that very powerfully. We've come a long way over the past year in our ability to connect. And this morning I heard that there were people here joining us from far away. And, you know, I just want to acknowledge all of those who are joining from other states and maybe even other countries. That is the power that technology shows us. It's an aid, really, to create, well, not to create, but to get us to see very clearly that there is no separation. There's no separation between people, and there's no separation between us and God. Our focus this month is a pause for guidance. Today's talk is entitled GPS, Guidance Positioning System. And it's time to check our inner guidance system. Are we still on our individual paths that are leading us to our highest and best? Are our eyes open to see and learn all we can on the path that we've taken? We all know the feeling of traveling on the highway and suddenly waking up to the fact that we've gone way past our exit, right? How many of you have felt that before? Oh, yeah, it's kind of amazing, right? That we can just be so unaware of our surroundings that we can get off track. You know, sometimes, especially if we're on the freeway, we may have to go miles and miles out of our way just to backtrack, to get back to where we want to go. And we miss things also when we're in that place of being on automatic pilot that are there that we need to see. We miss it. We really miss it in our unawake state. And unless we have our GPS on, we're lost, right? We're really lost. That inner guidance system is exactly what we need. The same is true of the human family. We can veer off track and lose sight of both our individual and our collective human potential. One of the most powerful teachings of the master teacher Jesus is that the kingdom of heaven is within. To get to the place where we can receive the gifts of inner guidance requires that we enter the silence. Thomas Merton, the 20th century mystic, writes, "There is in all visible things an invisible fecundity, a dimmed light, a meek namelessness, a hidden wholeness. The mysterious unity and integrity is wisdom, the mother of us all. Natura naturans. There is in all things an inexhaustible sweetness and purity, a silence that is a fountain of action and joy. It rises up in wordless gentleness and flows out to me from the unseen roots of all created being," unquote. That's kind of a long quote, and there's a lot that's contained in it. And the first thing that I want us to look at is and sit with is that idea of silence. Silence. And what comes out of that silence. It's fertile. There is such fecundity, he uses that word, fertility, in the silence. It's not loud. There's a dimmed light. And it's nameless. There's something nameless about the silence. And in that silence, there is wholeness. Now, let's just sit with that for a second. That wholeness is present in the silence, but there's sort of an emptiness implied in there. And that is emptying all of the conditioning that we carry with us as we go within. What Merton reminds us is that wisdom is our guidance system to the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is within, and Thomas Merton reminds us that our inner guidance system is the pathway to the kingdom. Wisdom is personified as a woman. Isn't that amazing? Wisdom is personified as a woman. And this personification is called Sophia, the Greek word for wisdom. In Proverbs 8 through 12, Sophia speaks for herself. All the words of my mouth are righteous. There is nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are all straight to one who understands and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instruction instead of silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than jewels. All that you may desire cannot compare with her. I, wisdom, live with prudence, and I attain knowledge and discretion. That's Sophia speaking for herself, talking about those qualities that define what wisdom is. Take a moment. Let's absorb the power of her words. And wisdom is our inner guidance system. And it speaks directly to us. Richard Rohr says of Sophia, quote, she was with God before creation and was the master worker through whom God created, unquote. And we all have this inner guidance system built into us as part of our spiritual DNA. Let's remember this by adding to the acronym GPS, God, power, Sophia. This can be seen as the triad that works together for all good things in life. Okay, what is GPS? God, power, wisdom, right? So remember that. Let's anchor that in our minds right now. And you know, there's a lot of triads in our teachings and in the teachings of the world. And this is one of those that has tremendous power. And we can see another triad. Let's think about, you know, how does creation take place? Let's think about another one. Okay, we have seed, soil. Well, there's something else that needs to go there to make it grow. We could say water, right? We could add water. But there is a triad there that is making it possible for creation to work. And, you know, this is a law that we haven't really explored all that much in religious science, although Ernest Holmes pointed toward it when he talked about the triune nature of the universe. Well, this is one of those triads that open a window, a wisdom window for us. Imagine what creation would be like without wisdom. There would be no order, no beauty, no joy, no beneficial things for us. It would be chaos without the promise of the law that manifests from the spiritual prototypes of spirit. So we have to have that triad to move from just this uncreated form into something that makes sense. And that's where wisdom comes in. In the Wisdom of Solomon, one of the books of the Apocrypha, Sophia is described thus: a spirit that is intelligent, holy, unique, manifold, subtle, mobile, clear, unpolluted, distinct, invulnerable, living the good, keen, irresistible, beneficent, human, steadfast, sure, free from anxiety, all powerful, overseeing all, and penetrating through all. And that's from Wisdom 7:22 and 23. These are all the attributes of our GPS. Okay, say again, what does GPS stand for? God, Power, Sophia. In Tibetan Buddhism, the goddess Tara is the embodiment of fully awakened wisdom and compassion. So with the Tibetan Buddhists, they combine those two qualities, right? Those two qualities of wisdom and compassion. And Tara is probably the most beloved deity, well, or goddess, let's say goddess. They don't really think about deities as such. There's aspects of consciousness. And she is one of the most beloved of that whole pantheon. Tara helps practitioners navigate anything that might get in the way of spiritual realization, known as the 8 fears. You know, and I love Buddhism for this because, you know, they kind of delineate all of these human emotions and human experiences that we have, and they distill it so that we can really take a look at it. So the 8 fears are attachment, arrogance, wrong view, jealousy, anger, doubt, greed or miserliness, and ignorance. And, you know, oftentimes I think about this, you know, that other meaning of greed and miserliness, right? Isn't that kind of amazing? And you know, I think often that where we're kind of stuck in this moment is in that kind of fear. That we have people who are attaining abundance in their lives, and yet they're holding on to it so tightly. They're miserly, right? So that circulation of the good is not occurring. It's not happening because of this fear that creates this kind of condition. And we could go and kind of analyze that. Well, what's that about? And we could come up with probably as many diagnoses as there are people who engage in this kind of behavior. But it is, you know, basically one of the aspects that arises out of fear. Tara can be seen perhaps, Tara can be seen perhaps more clearly as guidance positioning system because the things she navigates us through are human habits of mind. So each one of those things that I outlined are human habits of mind. They're just habits. You know, sometimes people will say, oh, that's human nature. Well, not really. They're habits of mind that have been developed over the millennia, right? We learn things and then they just become habits. You know, and we all probably have some sort of habit that we've fallen into. It's a habit of mind. It's not who we are intrinsically. It's a habit. And because it's a habit, we can change it. We don't have to sit with that. We don't have to be that. It's helpful to me to see both Tara and Sophia as integral to our inner guidance system. So I love that idea of both wisdom and compassion fueling the way that I interact with the world. And if I am the minister of transformation, those things have to reside in me. And I have to allow them to go out into the world. I can't hoard them, right? They won't have their transformational power if I decide that I'm going to hoard them. And that's why I believe in service so much, that we go out to serve the world. So how do we access Sophia and Tara? Access is given as we believe. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, says, the law of correspondence works for the belief to the thing. If we believe we shall have only a little good will come into our experience. And this is from The Power for Good, Lesson 530. If we believe we can have all the gifts of living spirit and have them abundantly, we are receptive to the fullness of Tara and Sophia. We also have to experience wisdom in some way to know what we are seeking within ourselves. This is where the feeling or the fire that we talk about adding to our spiritual mind treatments comes into play. And have you wondered what that fire is sometimes? And I want us to go back and look at what Merton says, right? That going into the silence, there's something that there is a fire there. There is a fire, but it's not loud. It's not all flashy. It's not burning out of control. But that fire is present. Fire can be felt strongly in poetry. It is an energetic that burns like a lantern, giving light to the soul. 11th century Christian mystic Hildegard of Bingen writes in a prayer to Sophia, you of the whirling wings, circling, encompassing energy of God, you quicken the world in your clasp. One wing soars in heaven, one wing sweeps the earth, and the third flies all around us. Praise to Sophia. Let all the earth praise her. Notice the triad again, echoing our God, Power, Sophia triad. It is okay, my eyes are a little bit off today. These wings, right, the third wing represents a particular power in this poem. It is the mothering power of love, quickening the world in her clasp. So just feel that. Feel that power of Sophia just surrounding the world, right? And that power of creation, enlivening everything that it touches. It is energizing. For humanity, there are all the elements of comfort and surrender to the power of mothering love. we really idealize mothering love, right? That is an ideal that we look at. And even if we have had mothers that are not mothering figures like Tara, we can look to this pure archetype as our guidance system that shows us what that feminine power of mothering love is about. The third wing, right, flies all around us and implies the protection that she provides us. Wisdom protects us. Wisdom protects us. We think about all of the wise words, right? There's a whole section in the Hebrew Bible that is dedicated to wisdom. In all of the sacred texts of the world, there are portions that are dedicated completely to wisdom. In all of the oral traditions of the world, there is an emphasis on wisdom. So as we believe that we have as much access as we want to Sophia, we open up to her. Helen Palmer, a seer and one of the scholars and practitioners of the Enneagram, tells a story of the first time she had a powerful spiritual experience, which I would categorize as an encounter with Sophia, the protector. In the 1960s, and if you remember your history or you were alive then, there was a very unpopular war. It was the war in Vietnam. And there were many, many people who marched for peace, were activists for peace, and there were many people who were being drafted, who were pacifists, who did not believe in this war and decided to make a stand. Well, Helen Palmer was working with a group of people. It was a church-based group that helped transport resistors from the United States to Canada. And it was a very harrowing time, right? Because it wasn't simply that you transported people and it was all hunky-dory. It was illegal. It was illegal to do this. And yet they were called by conscience to participate in these activities. And she was in a state of, she was responsible for a group. And she was in the state of high anxiety about this crossing because she was responsible. And she was a very young woman. And she was responsible for all these lives. So she actually lived in the same church that sponsored this program. And she was sitting in a big, overstuffed brown chair, an old one, and I can just imagine it, right? That many people had sat in that chair, that it was well used, and, I can just imagine her kind of sinking into it. And she found herself going into this state. It was a spiritual experience. And it started with anxiety, but somehow that anxiety dissipated, and she found herself in this spiritual state. And for her, what she received from Sophia was a clear picture of where they were going to cross. And in that picture, the alarms started going off. There were people there who were arresting those who were trying to cross. So she immediately, after she had this experience, she warned everyone that, we're not going to take, she aborted that crossing. And she turned toward another place where they could cross safely. Well, there was a group who didn't heed that warning. And sure enough, it unfolded exactly as she saw it. They were arrested and they were taken to prison. But in that state, this quiet state, remember the silence? She was able to receive this information from Sophia, the protector, that mothering love that does protect us. So for Helen Palmer, the powerful experience spurred her to explore how one can access this spiritual gift. This led her on a spiritual journey that has spanned almost 60 years. Back in the 70s, I had the opportunity to meet Helen Palmer, and I was listening to her. She's now 84 years old, and I listened to her speak about a year ago. And, all of this started to fall together, all of these different pieces of my own spiritual path started to come together more clearly, and maybe for you, all of us here have been studying, have been practicing. And to me, in that study and practice, we get a tremendous amount of clarity that we can access these gifts of spirit through our spiritual practice. Now let's try this meditation practice that Helen Palmer points toward. Now what she says is that, it's oftentimes hard for us to differentiate the outside from the inside. And that's understandable because it takes time to learn what that inside is, right? What is that inside? We say it's an inside job all the time, but what does that mean, right? To really go within. So let's try her. Let's just get a little taste of this and let's try it. Okay. Come into yourself. Drop your attention down through your body, down through your throat, the chest. Relax through your chest. Continue to move down toward the solar plexus. And everyone has a little bit of tension right here in the solar plexus. So just breathe into that. Allow that to relax. Relax into it. Breathe into the tension. Stay internal. Recognize it. Recognition is a spiritual perception. You don't know what will show up until you recognize it. A received impression. Relaxing resistance to receiving accurate information. Reality, objective reality, can only be perceived internally when you are receptive to it. Subjective reality is the thoughts, feelings, and sensations machine, which are relaxed once you let go of those thoughts, feelings, and sensations. They are not permanent. Let them go. Once you are in, and you are in a whole different zone. Within that emptiness, there is a negation of all conditioned reactions. Relax into that receptive state. Awareness in the present moment is key. Then you're able to stabilize within that present moment. Centeredness. A question, a thought about a question. It's not even a thought about a question. It's just reception. You are concentrating in a peaceful state of mind. You are concentrating without pictures, any images, without any sensations or any reactivity. Place your attention on one thing only. Pure receptivity of awareness is spirit. Spirit is the life force. So once we get to that place, did you get a little taste of that? Once we get to that place, this is something that we practice here as well. In our prayers, in our visioning practices, that's the silence that we're entering into. In visioning, we have questions that focus us, but first, we are getting to that place without anything so that we can receive accurate information directly from spirit. We've looked at our inner guidance system as Sophia, the feminine aspect of the divine. Sophia as wisdom that guides, guards, and protects us when we believe we can have it. Sophia is also relational. We can go to Sophia for guidance with all our human interactions. We go to Sophia for guidance to be a good relative to all of creation. When we approach Sophia with an open heart, we take a step toward greater receptivity. It is all part of our spiritual growth. As we grow, we lean into abundance until we are fully in the flow of wisdom. This week, take time to commune with Sophia. If you are so busy that you have no time, then that is the perfect moment to stop what you are doing and go within. Enter the silence. Thomas Merton says, when I am liberated by silence, when I am no longer involved in the measurement of life, but in the living of it, I can discover a form of prayer in which there is effectively no distraction. And I want to just put in parentheses here, no receptivity, nothing that you are reacting to in that moment of pure grace. And he goes on to say, my whole life becomes a prayer. My whole silence is full of prayer. This week, imagine what it is like to be the prayer. Know that your life has been the answer to others' prayers. Feel the love wash over you. Turn on your GPS and travel in style with Sophia. So what is our GPS? God, power, and Sophia. And so it is. So let's turn within. And in this moment of pure peace, relaxing into this moment, stabilizing this moment as that eternal now, I recognize that power and presence that is Sophia. I know that each and every one of us has our inner GPS turned on throughout this week, throughout our lives, that we can access it easily and effortlessly at any moment. We can hear Sophia speak, providing that lamp that leads us, guides us on our spiritual path and in every aspect of our life. We know that Sophia is present, wisdom is ours, and we move forward with this full knowledge that all is good, all is beneficial, that we are that beneficial presence in the world, that we are transforming ourselves, and in that transformation, we transform the world. And I allow this to be. I release my word into the action of the law, knowing that it is already done. And so it is.
Blessings abound in this moment, silent, open, listening. Spirit, I feel blessed unfoldment, breathing new life in me. In this moment, truth and clarity, finding the way to me. In this moment, I am where I should be, safe in the arms of love. Blessings abound in this moment, silent and open, listening. Spirit, I feel a blessed unfoldment, breathing new life in me. In this moment, truth and clarity find their way to me. In this moment, I am where I should be, safe in the arms of love. I'll trust myself, I'll seize the day. I know my heart will lead the way. I'll trust myself, I'll seize the day. I know my heart will lead the way. I'll trust myself, I'll seize the day. I know my heart will lead the way. I'll trust myself, I'll seize the day. I know my
Thank you, Jubel. And thank you, Reverend Victoria. Beautiful message. So now we have an opportunity to contribute to Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Your conscious contributions support us in all of the amazing work that we do. There are 2 easy ways to make your contribution, via text or on our website. To text, just send a text to 951-419-5858. For those of you online, it should be scrolling at the bottom with the amount you wish to contribute. You can also find links in the upper right-hand corner. This always messes me up. I'm already left-right dyslexic. So I say, yeah, go right to my husband all the time. So to text, in the upper right-hand corner of our website, there is a Contribute tab. And if you feel so moved, please consider an additional contribution to the Two or More Fund, which helps to support our building. You can do that via text to give. Just add MORE at the end, M-O-R-E. There's also a button on the website for the Two or More Fund. Last but not least, you can also mail a check, and our address is on the website. And last but not least, there are envelopes in the backs of the pew and mirrored vessel at the back where you can deposit a contribution if you so choose. So I'm going to move on to announcements. And there's just 3 announcements. 1, we still have community visioning happening. We have 2 more Wednesdays. Please, if you have not joined us, please feel free to do so. It is not you have to be there for all of them, or you have to be, for more than one. The more you go, the more visioning you do, I find for me, the deeper I go and the more that is expressed. So please let Spirit speak through you for our community. The other 2 announcements are we have 2 classes starting in September. Essential Earnest Homes with our ministerial intern, Neil Hayner. I've had a couple of prac sessions with Neil. He's amazing. I highly recommend. It will be, even if you've taken it before, it will be a different class and you will get so much from it. And then the other class is Spiritual Principles and Practices. It's one of our foundational courses. I am teaching it. Neil's class, starts on September 14th. It is Tuesday nights from 6 to 9. And Spiritual Principles and Practices starts Thursday, September 16th from 6 to 9, and both will be via Zoom. So, all right. And we are heading out.
Here we go.
Oh.
All right, I know you know it. I hope you have a great Sunday. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. Have a great Sunday.
All right, something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. And I receive it. Because love lives here. Woo!
Love